Good afternoon, James.
Hi.
We are happy to have you here with City News. And tell me, what exactly do you do for Microsoft?
Okay. Yeah, David, it's really an honor to be here. So I have one of the most interesting jobs within Microsoft. Basically, I'm the managing director for Microsoft for Startups, covering the region of China, Korea, and Japan. So basically, we will actually using Microsoft resources to help startups to grow, to scale up their business, whether it's through giving Microsoft technologies or using Microsoft customer networks to help them to access customers, or helping them connect to the venture fundings.
Yeah. James, you agree with me that Microsoft is a big organization, and the impact it's made around the world is there for all to see. Now, what would you say your experience in the jurisdiction you operate as a person? What have your experiences been, culturally speaking?
Okay, so I'm covering China, Japan, and Korea. So those kind of culture is very customer-driven, relationship-based. So there's a lot of similarity. Also, there's a difference. So I think the difference is, China is a huge market. A lot of Chinese startups, they can simply focus on China market. They don't really have to go anywhere. They can become a unicorn companies. While companies in Japan or Korea, their domestic is relatively small. When they want to do a startup, they will be actually aimed to go global, go outside of their countries.
I see. And do you have to do more than they already know in terms of providing them with the global vision that they are part of a system that is universal?
Yeah, Microsoft is a global company, so we have the global networks. So a lot of those companies in China, Japan, Korea, they're still a lot of times very local. Though they have a global vision, so part of my job is also helping them to say what's happening outside of their own region. That's why for this event, I bring 3 startups from China to participate. They all give me very good feedbacks, the things they learn about the European market. For certain kind of business, there's a lot of innovations happening in China, Korea, and Japan, especially some very deep technologies, which can apply globally. In China, whether it's some AI technologies, some hardware, they coming up out those markets. In Korea, there's some gaming industries. It's really a global operations. And in Japan, we all know traditionally they are very strong in some corporate innovations. They are right now all set up a corporate venture to support the startup for open innovation.
Yes, and the work ethics we know or we hear about in these jurisdictions. Can you speak a bit? I mean, they work so hard, they work for so long. Tell us about it.
Okay. Yeah. So a lot of times, right now in China, this is something like a very controversial things where Jack Ma was talk about 996. So typically, the startup world in China, employees working 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. So if you have a company work that hard, also work very smart, so they make them very global competitive startups.
And the response of the others to these people you talk about, I mean, startups in the United States or in Europe or some other places, How are they scared of the Chinese? Are they scared of the Japanese? Are they scared they are taking the shares?
Yeah, I think now it's a global market. In the old days, the startup need to become a big enterprise to compete globally. Now the technology is really available. The startup we actually see when they first start up a business, sometimes they just go global already. For example, there's one company called Musically. They actually offer some interesting entertainment video to serving the U.S. the European market. They just take up that particular Chinese business model to the U.S. and Europe, which actually become very trendy apps for all the teenagers to play in those markets. So I think whether the Chinese company or the Japanese company want to go global, or the European or US companies want going to the Asia, I think definitely this is a trend.
Yes. And in creating these synergies you talk about in this jurisdiction of your operation, can you specifically tell us what you do for, one, the startups, and for two, the big corps that need the products?
I see. So for startup to enter our program, as I mentioned, one of them is Microsoft, the technology company. We certainly will help them on technology, make sure their product is architecture well, can be scaled in the global scale. Second is actually given 95% of Fortune 500 companies all using Microsoft Cloud, part of my job is working with Fortune 500 C-suite, and a lot of those kind of companies, they all want to do corporate innovations, or they want to be doing digital transformations themselves. My job is actually connect their corporate use cases and their needs of open innovation with the innovation solutions from startups. So that would be serving a both win-win for startups and the corporate.
And in so doing, have you encountered, what kind of challenges have you encountered?
Okay, I think the expectation of startup and also the enterprise, there's some difference. The pace is a little bit different. The enterprise, they have their own processes, they have their way to do things. A lot of times they need to customize applications. So startup, I think by working with corporate, it's really a good use cases you can use in corporate to access big of the consumer customer base. But meanwhile, you also need to understand how corporate works. So that's actually I see a big challenges. A lot of times when startups think that I pitch to the corporate, I will instantly have business. I think you need to be patient. You have to understand how corporate works so that you can really leverage corporate as a way to help you to scale up your business.
How quickly can a qualitative startup that wants to, go on the next stage by getting some corporate clients, how quickly can this process be?
I see. Yeah. So the company, if it's really early stage, I would say you better to work out yourself, because sometimes in order to be a vendor listed with a corporate, it may take 6 months. So a startup, you cannot waste time on this. But when you come to what I call a scale up stage, maybe you're already Series A funded company, which means you raised a couple $1 million, you have some employees, you have some beachhead customers, then corporate will be a very good platform for you to work with to help you to scale your business globally quickly.
I see. And what, in terms of financing, what do you do for the startups?
I see. So we help them twofold. One is Microsoft itself have Microsoft Venture called M12. Of course, we will not invest in every country for every startups. So my job also I built a very strong ecosystems and the networks with all the venture capitalists within China, Japan. So I do a lot of matchmaking between capital and the startups. And it's given the startup enter Microsoft for startups. It's mostly tech startups. So we're very selective. So the startup, it's very high quality. That's why so many tier 1 VCs love to work with us, because it saves them time. So we already pre-screen the startup for them. So again, that become a win-win situation. VC to send their startup to us, and then the startup love to work with us, with the VCs, because all the things we provide by Microsoft for Startup, it's free of charge. We don't take any equities. So it's a best kept secret within industry. Come to Microsoft Startups. We will help you to scale your business, whether it's go to market or raising money.
Okay, may we know the secret behind the secret? Perhaps not in detail. What do you look for when you have a startup that you think stands a very good chance of making progress? I mean, what are the determinants and prerequisites?
I say, so Microsoft is a tech company, so mainly we're focused on tech startups. The technology in terms of the AI, blockchain, cloud, data, IoT, AR, VR, those are the technologies we're looking for. For the other, Microsoft is extremely good at working with corporate. So we are really looking for the B2B startups who's providing enterprise solutions to serving large enterprises, that when we easily to help you to connect you with the big enterprises. So whether your solutions are on retail, healthcare, financial industry, manufacturing, education, government, media, etc., Microsoft really can help you to scale up your business.
Oh, that's nice. And would you care to talk about what you see, I mean what you envision in the next 5 to 10 years? I mean the short-term forecast in terms of what you do. Will the market continue rising or will it go down?
I'm very positive. I think definitely tech. We also this morning talk about fintech or tech thing. Last week I was in China, talk of pop tech or tech pop. This is a wave about digital transformation. In the future, there's no traditional business or tech firms. We will all see those converge. So for startup out there, if you have some very cool technologies, really can helping those vertical industry corporate to do digital transformation, the opportunity is really there.
Finally, I won't let you go until you tell me where the risks are. Where are the risks? What is risky about this? We just hear about the gains.
I see. I think startup itself is a risk business, but the experience itself is so rewarding. So it depends on what type of person you are, whether you want to really to be a mover and shaker, change the world, or if you have a family, you really have to make a living for them, then maybe it's a corporate job, maybe it's good for you. So it depends on what type of person. So I would say if you're young, working several years at a corporate to gain some experiences, then going to an entrepreneurship type of experience, it's so rewarding. The world is changing, and the opportunity is really there. As a Microsoft for Startup, again, we're here to help you.
And James, what kind of person are you?
That's a really important question. We can talk on and on.
Okay, James, thank you for being here with us. It was enlightening, educative, and there are some things I will go home with. And we hope to have you here again in the near future. Thank you once more.